Hearts Restored, Finding True Fulfillment in Christ, by Stephanie M. Seaton. Heart Restored, Finding True Fulfillment in Christ. In this book, we embark on a journey that explores the depths of human longing and the pursuit of true fulfillment. Innocence Taken, by authors Stephanie M. Seaton and Rodriguez. Mr. U. Underwood. In this book you will go into the minds of survivors as they share stories of innocence that was taken in childhood. Stop child abuse in all forms. No more innocence taken.
Hello, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. And I am so happy to be here tonight. Tonight, I have the privilege of interviewing my friend, my sister, my prayer partner, Miss Candi Usher, author Candi Usher, and Minister Candi Usher. And we are going to be talking about a very serious subject tonight. We are going to be talking about women and suicide. And this is a topic that is not talked about enough. And so tonight, my dear friend, let's welcome Candi Usher to the stage.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Hi and hello.
Yes, my dear friend has stepped out courageously and she has told her story about her struggles with the thoughts and attempts of suicide in her new book, Pretty Wings. And tonight we are talking about her new book, Pretty Wings, available on all online platforms. Tonight it is going to, I told her before we got live, it's going to be challenging for me not to tell too much because I've read the book. But we are going to dive in. We're going to talk about several things in the book. We never know what people are going through because this woman is always smiling. She's always encouraging. She answers every time I call her. But you just never know. We know that each other go through things and have been through different struggles, but when you hear about the depths of it, it is amazing that a lot of us are still in our right minds and still
Yeah,
standing. So, Candy, I salute you. I really do.
thank
Um,
you.
we're going to talk about several things tonight from the book. It has so many different parts to it, moving parts, I'll say. And so all of that is going to be of substance in tonight's conversation. So Candy is a minister, a mother, a Navy veteran, selling author, internationally selling author, licensed counselor. She's actually finishing up school. She's
Yes,
she's just doing it. Okay, she is doing the thing. Nothing is standing in her way. She served 8 years actually in the Navy, and that in itself was some type of experience, especially as a woman, and then on top of it, a Black woman. And so we're
yes,
going to talk about those things as well. She's been writing poetry since she was about 6 years old, and published her first book in 2017.
yes,
And so, again, congratulations on this new release. I
thank
know this
you.
book is going to do well. I'm sure it's already doing well because
Yeah,
this is a really good read. Um, let's start with um, the title,
yeah,
Pretty Wings.
yes.
How did you come up with the title, Pretty Wings?
So I am a part of a group called But She Flies, and it's butterflies, but she flies.
Okay.
And I recognize that we go through life and we go through a metamorphosis. We're the
Mhm.
caterpillar, then we go into the chrysalis, which is the cocoon. That's the scientific word for it. Then we become a butterfly, and then eventually we fly away.
Right.
And as God gave me that title, I also was along the lines. One of my favorite songs is "Pretty Wings" by Maxwell.
Okay.
This
Okay.
song came out right around the time my son passed,
Mm,
and I intentionally learned all the words. So for where everybody else is a breakup song,
yeah.
for me it's different because my son gained his wings.
Right.
He gained his
Yeah.
angel wings.
Yeah.
So it's a dual meaning for me. And I couldn't
Yeah.
decide if I wanted to put the girl with angel wings or if I wanted to put her with butterfly wings. And as I
Yeah.
started writing the book, it was like, okay, yeah, the butterfly wings is the direction we want to go in because it takes a change to get to that point of healing,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
to get to
Yeah.
that point of release, because a butterfly is
Stages.
literally released from
Mm-hmm.
that cocoon. And
Yeah.
you have to go through some changes to get to that point of release. And some
That's right.
people have to stay in that cocoon longer than other people.
Yeah.
There are people who never leave that cocoon. They're stuck in it
Wow. Yeah.
for forever,
Mm-hmm.
and I want us as women, especially as Black women, to be able to get out of these cocoons of social media, of
Yeah.
society, how they
Mm-hmm.
look at us, how they think of us, because we're trapped in that. And it's not all of us, but
Right.
they want to trap all of us in that cocoon.
Yeah, I get that. Um, wow. My friend is so smart. She's so deep. She's so
That's God. I keep
smart.
telling y'all, that's God, not me. That's all
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
not me.
So you kind of talked to us, well, about the title.
Yeah.
Why did you write this book? What was the calling in your heart that made you decide at this point, you know what, I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to release these series of events. What was the why?
Um, I have three other books. I'm Still Standing Here, My Forever Angel, and Delusional When I Lost My Mind in Love. Well, in
Mm,
all three books, I touch on my suicidal thoughts and attempts. But as I've been going through with psychology, getting ready to graduate in a few weeks with
yes.
my bachelor's, um, the thought process has become that I really need to go deeper. That
Okay.
as I study, as I look at reading these studies and understanding where we are socially, especially
Yeah.
Black women, that a lot
Hmm.
of things when it comes to our mental health are just not discussed. They are
Yeah.
not, and we are not bold enough sometimes to
Hmm.
speak on it. I remember earlier this year, gospel
Hmm.
singer Shayna, I want to say Wilson is her last name, and I might not be
I
right.
know who you're talking about. Hmm.
And she was talking about that
Hmm.
and how after she lost her mom, what she went through mentally.
Mm.
And for her to get on her platform and speak on that said a lot to me because people think that just because you're saved, you don't go through stuff. No, baby. See, being saved means it's not just a mental thing anymore. It's not
Yeah.
just emotional, it's a whole spiritual battle.
Spiritual warfare. Yeah.
And when you're called and then chosen by God to do some things, the
Yeah.
enemy will attack you in a whole different way. And he's never going to attack when you're at your strongest. He will always attack you when you're at your weakest because that's
Yeah.
when he can sway you. That's when he
Yeah.
can move you. And you
Yeah.
have to be able to understand and see that. But you also
Yeah.
have to be in the spirit enough to see your brother or sister like that. Oh, she's got
Right.
an attitude. No, she's hurting. Oh,
Yeah.
he mad at the world. No, he's hurting. And
Yeah.
being able to look at them from a spiritual aspect instead of a physical one. So
Yeah.
when God was like, no, you need to go deeper. You really need to talk about this. Tell
Yeah.
people where your mind was at, where your heart was at, and then go into the studies that are lacking, the
Yeah.
things that are not being studied in our community, things that are not being talked about. Literally,
Yeah.
in our community, we have that problem that we don't
Hmm.
talk about mental health in our
Yeah.
community like we should.
And we've talked about that a lot on this platform, how important it is that we show up honestly because we can't get help for things we don't acknowledge, right?
Yeah. And there's not enough healthcare coverage for it either. Most
Mm.
of the
Yeah.
time, things like Medicare and Medicaid only, even for a veteran, mental health care is very limited. And as long
Mm.
as you're passing their little tests and assessments and they don't think it's serious enough,
Hmm.
you won't get the treatment that you need. And so many people are falling through the crack because it's a fear, especially when it comes to veterans and the Black community. You're an
Right.
outcast if you have mental health issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, like I said, this book, reading this book took me back to some dark days in my own life. You very descriptively described the scenes, how you felt in the moment. And I could not help but not only imagine where you were and what was going on, but it took me to some things I've tried to forget.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. It will
So,
have you just like that. Like,
yeah,
wait, I know this. I might not have been in that exact situation, but I
yeah,
understand this mindset. I understand this feeling. I understand being on the edge
yeah,
and you're teeter totter back and forth, and you don't know whether to just jump off, and you're still waiting for somebody to grab you and say, hey, don't do it,
yeah,
and feeling like you're in a room full of people screaming. Nobody hears you.
yeah,
Nobody.
yeah. The thing I think that got me, Candy, with the book and the whole story of your life was so many different events taking place in a short period of time. And it, as I read all the different events, and so let me say this, when I started reading the book, I had it in my head to split it up. I was going to read part of it and then part of it. Well, I read the whole book all the way through. I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. Once I started reading, I literally had to read the whole book, and I was sitting there like, whoa. Um, but it was a whole series of events: death of a relative,
Yeah.
um, the loss of the child, even the process leading up to losing of the child, the military, how they acted in the space, in the situation. It was so many things. Let's start with this. Let's start with the fact that we as women, when we grow up in traumatic homes, we're broken from the beginning.
Yes.
We're trying to escape the reality of what, and this was something you and I both have in common.
Yeah.
When you're trying to escape the reality of your home because of trauma and abuse and things of that sort, and then you find yourself in a premature marriage
Yeah.
where you don't
Very much so.
don't
Because
have
you're
the
looking
tools.
for another way out,
Yeah,
and you're like,
and
you're
you're
picking
mentally,
the lesser of two evils.
yeah,
Should I stay here? Should I go here? Not
mhm,
realizing that the person that's there is feeding off of your vulnerability at the time. And they're able
yeah,
to promise you things they're never going to give you.
yeah.
But
Because
I can promise you, I can get you to believe it.
see, the thing is, we trusted those people with the information that we had already been through,
Yeah.
and instead of showing up and taking the pressure off, they put
They added
more
more.
pressure on.
Yep.
And but the thing is, they were who they were. It was the
Yeah.
fact that we were so broken, we didn't know any better ourselves than not to
Yeah.
accept that. We were looking for something, for the wrong. We were looking for the right thing in the wrong people,
Wrong
if that
time.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Wrong time, wrong people.
Yeah.
And we have that's parallel in my story as well.
Yeah.
But I listened to the things that you said, and I've been there, done that. Being in a relationship with somebody, their heart and their mind, their whole self is so far from doing right.
Nothing there.
But
Yeah.
we try to hang in there, and we try our best to get it together, and we base it on things from the past, not wanting to, start over, and so many things,
Yeah.
and
A lot of fear too. It's a
a
lot
lot
of
of fear, the
fear
unknown.
involved in that. And I'm scared of dealing with this parent. At the
Yeah,
same time, this fear has built because I've dealt with the abuse from this person.
yeah,
So who do I fear more? Well, I fear leaving this person because this person has already threatened or has already harmed somebody close to me. And
yeah,
that threat continues. So you're picking the lesser of technically two evils, really.
yeah, yeah. Well, so in reading the book, let's get to the fact that you're pregnant. You're pregnant at this point, and you end up getting transferred somewhere else, stationed somewhere else. You're
Mhm.
in the military. You end up getting stationed somewhere else. Your family relocates. So you were getting regular medical care in the city that you were in. When
Mhm.
you go on military transfer and get to a new state, you were not afforded medical care. You
No.
are pregnant and you are not afforded medical care. I'm trying to process that in my mind.
Yeah.
How
I'm still trying
a
to,
active
even to
duty,
this day, having gone through it, And in and out the hospital every single day because I'm constantly vomiting. I'm constantly sick as it
Dehydration.
was, blood pressure high as it was. And you have your old command finds out that you have a medical issue. And your new command doesn't like the fact that you're going to the hospital to the doctor every week.
But if you didn't, you wouldn't get medical care. Yeah. It's
And that's
it's
every day having to go because you can't keep down water. You can't keep down food. Your feet are so swollen they can't fit inside your boots, but your doctor won't even let you wear tennis shoes because you're
well,
too early in your pregnancy. And they're giving you Zofran, which has found to be dangerous during pregnancy.
so you were denied, and I'm finna build this picture. I'm telling you now, I'm finna build it. Uh, so you are denied medical care. You are pregnant, denied medical care. How far were you along in your pregnancy at that point?
Um, at that time, I was about 4 months pregnant when
So
I got
four
ready to
months.
transfer. Mm-hmm.
So 4 months pregnant, denied medical care, given medication that's known to be harmful, especially for women in pregnancy. In the process of that, your husband has an affair, ongoing affair, which leads to you contracting an STD that later you find out that STD caused your baby that was not being able to receive medical care by the military to suffer more. And
Even more.
now even more, tell us about the condition and what the what the effects of that was.
So when I got ready to transfer, what they do is they do a panel of medical exams. They do blood work, they do urine, especially being pregnant. They want to make sure that when you're transferring to the new command, anything that you need medically, you have that over there. So I go in, do everything, my urine, my blood work, stuff like that, go back home. I get a phone call the next day. I'm in the bathroom. And the nurse on the other end says, "So, have you had any issues, with using the bathroom? Have you had any itching, burning, anything like that?" I'm like, "No. Why?" He's like, "Well, you have gonorrhea and you need to talk to your partner. Have you slept with anybody else?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
no. Him and
Yeah.
him alone. If I'm in a relationship, I'm with you and you alone. That's it. That's
So
all.
take us to the point that you find out you've contracted gonorrhea. You're pregnant. You're not receiving the medical care that you should have received unless you actually go to an emergency care on your own.
Mhm.
What were the consequences of you getting contracting gonorrhea during this pregnancy that you would later to find out?
First off, I didn't know how long I had had it for.
Right.
That was one problem.
Okay.
So, what probably could have been treated a lot sooner, I was not
If you
aware of.
had had medical care, right.
If I'd have had medical care, it probably would have been caught sooner.
Right.
Second, when I confronted him about it, he had the audacity to tell me I probably got it off a toilet seat.
Yes, I read that.
I had a
So
perfect 100 in health class. There is no,
yeah,
sir,
yeah.
no, no.
So okay. So we find out that the gonorrhea is the issue. You go on in the pregnancy. Closer to getting ready to have the pregnancy, you start having issues, which lead you to go to the hospital. You ultimately find out that the baby is not healthy at this point. You begin
Um,
to
I went into early labor at work. I had to
yes.
sit at work for 2 extra hours
So
after.
so they would not release you from work. You had to wait till there was coverage, even though you were in active labor.
Yep.
You were forced by your command to wait for your relief to show up.
Yes.
I'm still trying to understand
I
this
know.
in my mind.
Yeah.
So again, you wait these 2 hours in labor while you're at work. You finally get to go to the hospital. By this time, you're at the hospital and they start to tell you all these things. The baby was born at what,
3
It's
pounds,
not,
2 ounces at
yeah,
31 weeks and 3 days.
31 weeks and 3 days.
Mhm.
And you realize at that point, like, I have been deprived of medical care. Your spouse had made it even worse with the situation that he put you in, and here you are now faced with the three different options. Ultimately, after having to leave your baby in the hospital to go visit your baby at different times, your spouse, in the period of time that your child was in the hospital, only finding it within himself to go 2 or 3 times to visit the baby in the hospital. You are now faced with, do you take the child home where you will have to pretty much have 24-hour care, as a result of the illness that had taken place, when you have another child at home that will not pretty much have the same quality of life because everything will be given
To his
to
brother.
the
Yeah.
child, yeah, to this child. Or you will have to take your child off of a ventilator
Mhm.
and you will have to say goodbye to your child. And
Yeah.
you had to make that decision, regardless of the fact that you did not physically or mentally want to, or even felt capable of doing it. Um, you had to find the strength to make that decision. And I can only imagine how you felt in that moment when I read this part in the book where you talked about making that decision, how something inside of you just pretty much shifted, and how you could not stay to the end because you would have lost it.
Yeah.
But then you said those words, and these were the words that got me when the nurse called you after the baby had passed and told you that the doctor held him until his last breath. I said, Jesus, I just, whoa. I
He was adored.
visualized,
All the nurses loved
yeah,
him. The doctors loved him. When his obituary was in the newspaper, they did it physically in the newspaper, and they did it digitally online. And two of the nurses went up there, and they said how much they loved him. It's there to this day. Now I can go at any point in time, go back and look at it again, and how they loved him and they cared about him, and how he was a bright light. My baby would smile, tube in his mouth. He yanked the tube out. He grabbed his feeding tube, his breathing tube. He smiled around it,
mm,
and so those things live with me for forever. I try
yeah,
not to at times think about the bad parts of it.
yeah,
The better memories are the ones that I try to hold on to. Those are the
yeah,
things that I look at, and I look at
yeah.
he has a better quality now,
Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely.
than what he did then. Yes, he went through that
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
but I would have never been able to get to the point I am now
If that
without
had not
that
happened. Yeah,
experience. It had a
yeah.
purpose. That was pain, but that pain has
Hmm.
a purpose.
Yeah, we say that quite often. There's purpose in pain. Pain has purpose. Yes. And so you suffered great losses, one behind the other. Even in the process of going through the losses, your marriage was, you know, on a whole other
Tumultuous.
level.
Yeah.
And you talk about not one, not two, but you talk about three different suicide attempts.
Yeah.
And as I read about the multiple suicide attempts and how you spoke about leading up to those moments, it was easier. You felt it was easier at that time to just go away, to disappear,
Yeah.
because you did not feel loved, you did not feel appreciated, and cared about.
Yeah.
And Lord knows so many of us have felt that before,
Yeah.
that it's so important when you love people, when you care about people, that you let them know. You
Yeah.
have no idea what people are struggling with,
Yeah.
what people are going through. And I'm trying not to tell too much of the book, Candy. I'm trying.
It's hard to sometimes when you feel
Am I doing
alone.
okay? Am I
It's
doing
when you
okay?
feel alone.
Um, this this part that I have a well, let me just relate it to this. So many times when we did, remember when we did the conference for Behind the Lipstick, and we
Mm-hmm.
talked about how we as women we show up with the hair, the lipstick, the makeup, the
Yeah,
wigs, we lashes, the men with the beards, the mustaches, trying to look the flyest and
yeah,
just broken, just messed up on the
yeah,
inside, right?
yeah,
Well, here you were, you're still trying to gather yourself from this marriage, from this affair, from
yeah,
the death of your child, from the death of other relatives, from all this other stuff.
yeah,
You didn't even get to have that closing moment, and here you are. They expected you to show up for work
yeah.
within a short period of days, like
Yes.
nothing just happened.
Nothing happened. Yeah,
And when
yeah.
so many times we're not given grace,
No.
we're not given space to grieve,
Yeah,
we're not given the opportunity. So whether you understand what I have been through or not,
yeah.
it's not your job to tell
No.
me how
How
long it's
long
going
I
to take
should
to
grieve
get over
for,
it.
what I should grieve, the way
Yeah,
I should grieve it. I am in a
no,
group with women who I think mine is one of the longest ones.
yeah,
But there
yeah,
are women in that group who are still, I don't grieve as much anymore, even though it's been
yeah,
almost 16 years. But
yeah,
just back in May, I was sitting there and I was in tears because I'm watching these babies who are graduating high school. And the thought crossed my mind that my baby would have been going to be a sophomore in high school.
yeah,
This year, he would have been a sophomore.
yeah,
And if we would have had my third son, who's here now, he's about to be a freshman in high school.
yeah.
So they would have fallen like that. And it's that thought process that this person is permanently gone.
Yeah.
And no matter what, that is a part, especially as a mother.
Yeah.
A lot of people are
They're
like, oh, the worst thing you can do is lose your mom and your no. From the
children.
experience, the worst thing I've ever lost, the worst person I've ever was my child. Because that
Yeah.
child is right there up under your heart. That child is a
Yeah.
living part of that mother until they're
There
born.
is there is a bond between a real mother
Yes.
and her children that is
Yes.
undeniable.
Yes.
It comes to mind. I remember when my oldest son went off to college, and he went down there to college trying to live his best life. And me and his dad took him down there to college, and he went down there trying to live his best life, Candy. And his phone would butt dial me.
Oh,
He done been prayed over, oil
yeah.
down, and everything. Okay, so my phone,
Ready, ready.
my phone would ring. It would be him, and I would listen, and it happened multiple times.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
would listen, and I could hear his environment, and I knew he wasn't in the right environment. And I just,
Yeah.
I've always just covered my kids in prayer,
Yeah.
especially my oldest one. Um,
Yeah.
but I just, I covered him in prayer. And long story short, I can feel even now when something is going on with my
Oh,
kids,
yeah.
I feel it. I dream it.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah.
Um, and I will call him if it's my older. I'll call him and I tell him. I say, you going through blah blah blah,
Yeah.
Mom. I was gonna tell you. Well,
Yeah.
listen, it's time to talk.
And for
You
mine,
know,
I noticed the attitude shift,
yeah,
with everything that's happened, especially because my oldest went through that with me.
yeah, yeah,
So we can read each other's attitude. We can feel that shift of, hey, not having a good day today. Hey, mom, what's wrong? Just
Yeah.
random. Hey, mom, what's wrong? And it's just like he feels the shift in the atmosphere of the house. My middle one, you tell, because he'll, no, ma'am, I'm okay. Well, don't lie to
Yeah.
me now. Come on.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
better than that. I know you're not. Just the way you're saying stuff, you're not okay. My youngest
Yeah.
one, he'll slump his shoulders and he'll
Yeah.
walk like he's dragging. Sir, what is wrong with you? But
Yeah.
that's when a mother has that connection with her children, that things like a change in their voice, a
You
thing
just
like
know.
a change in
Yeah.
their body language,
Yeah. You
a
listen.
change
Yeah.
in they're either too happy or they're not happy enough.
Yeah.
You sense that,
We
and
pick
it's
it, yeah,
like,
we
okay,
pick it
what's
up.
going on?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm still stuck on that part that you were supposed to act like that didn't happen to you just a few days ago and just pop back. And,
Yeah,
and then I thank the Lord that you loved yourself enough to put yourself in counseling and in therapy, so that you can heal and be here to be the woman that you are now. Tell me how your faith got you through this journey of all of this. Tell me about your faith level.
um, first it was definitely I'm a daddy's girl. I say that
Okay.
every single one I do. I'm a daddy's girl. So one of the first things I did was really start opening up to my dad about what I was going through. Like I have friends who have been there, and I thank God for them. Jennifer, Shantae, Emerald, Vet, my crew, Sandra, Laura, they were there. So when I needed to escape, they were there. When I
Yeah.
needed to get away, they were there. Because they've
Yeah.
all been through it. So they
Yeah.
all understood where I was. But to talk to my dad constantly, and he was giving encouragement. And as I opened up to him little bit by little bit and actually was honest, because for the longest time, I lied about what I felt. I lied
Mm,
about stuff I had been through, or I just
mhm.
didn't tell it, kept it to
Yeah.
myself. And when I
Mm,
realized that I had a space and a place to really be honest about it
yeah.
and really say what I was feeling, I was like, okay, I really need, because a lot of times people will tell you as a Christian, you just need Jesus.
Yeah.
Baby, let me fix that for you. You need Jesus plus therapy. You cannot
You are saying the same
fix
thing that
a
my guest Tuesday
situation.
night said.
You
Tuesday
cannot, it's
night.
like having an infection.
Yeah.
When you have an infection, you get an antibiotic. But
Yeah.
after you take the antibiotic, you have to also take care of your body afterward. We're asking God for deliverance from stuff, but we're not doing healthy maintenance. We're
Yeah.
not
We still
reading,
have
we're
a
not
part to play.
praying. Yes,
Yeah.
we're not
We have a
talking,
part to
finding
play.
Christian counsel to
Yeah.
help us stay healthy. For those of you who are running from church,
Yeah.
who have church hurt, baby, let it heal and get you some maintenance. Find you a church home, heal
Yeah.
from that past church hurt, and get some maintenance. Because if
Yeah.
you're not getting maintenance, anything that you're delivered from will come back, and it will come back with some extra stuff you do not want.
Yeah. That's
And when
sad,
I
but
started doing that and releasing that, that's where I got to the point of where I said, I can't continue like this with this person anymore.
yeah.
I've got to let it go. And having faith to know that God was telling me to walk away and have faith that God was going to take care of it because I was willing to walk away.
You know what I want to say? In each one of those attempts, and probably like so many other people, when you've just reached what you thought was the last end of the straw, the Lord stepped in every time you tried to do what you tried to do and stopped you and healed you and delivered you. Even though the enemy kept trying to throw that at you and tempt you at that, as I read that every time it happened, there was somebody in the path. The Lord kept putting somebody in your path to stop it.
Yeah.
And to God be the glory for that, because you have purpose. You have
Yeah.
things that you were supposed to do that you still have to do.
Yeah.
And I think the most touching moment was the last time.
Yeah.
The last time the person that stopped you, and you'll have to read the
Yeah.
book to know who it
Yeah.
was. But that last time, when that last time person,
Yeah.
that'll shut it all down.
Yeah. That he
Yeah,
and it's funny because that same person was the reason at the beginning from the first time. It's the same person for the
yeah,
last time. So that
mm,
person was meant to be here from the first time to get me
yeah,
through to
yeah.
the very
God,
last time.
God has a plan, and He always does things so well.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, friend. What do you say to women that are struggling mentally and that feel overwhelmed? What do you say to encourage them?
Um, I include in my book a study that was done on Black women and mental health. And our biggest thing is as little girls, starting as little girls, we're told we have to be strong. We have to be independent. We
Yeah.
we cannot have weakness. We
Mm,
cannot be, take mental breaks. These are things we cannot do. And we're told that so much when we're little that when we become adults and we start messing things up and we start having issues in relationships, we suck up and we deal with things we don't have to.
mm,
Because if we walk away, oh, you weren't strong enough in your, I've been told that. I have
mm-mm.
literally been told that. You gave
Yeah,
up on your marriage. So what I was supposed to do is keep allowing the abuse. I was supposed to keep allowing the cheating. Well,
yeah,
you weren't supposed to walk away. God, let me tell you what God said. If there's
yeah,
abuse or if there's infidelity, baby, pack your bags and run in the other direction. You are allowed to walk away. Run.
yeah,
And we've got to get to the point of where we have enough faith to say, I'm not going to stay in this space anymore. God, what do I do to get out
yeah,
of this space? When I tell you, I prayed and asked God to send me the right psych therapist to get me through. I've only had one that I ever quit.
okay.
Everybody else was right there. They were everything I needed at the
Mhm,
time. I needed them to get me through what I
mm.
needed them to get me through. And they
That's a blessing.
gladly text messages, phone calls. Ladies, have those people around you. I know
Yes,
the world tells you you can't trust people, you can't depend on, but I promise you, you'd be surprised. The people that are around you that want to support you,
yeah.
you just haven't said anything
We
or
have
you
to have
haven't paid
inner
it
circle.
any attention.
Yeah, yeah. It's very important that we have an inner circle, a
Yeah.
praying inner circle, not just an inner
Yeah.
circle, but a
And
praying,
interceding in a circle.
interceding inner circle, because when I call you, you already know.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah. And those are the times too. I'm randomly yeah. She don't know this, but sometimes I'm just God is like, hey, I'm placing this person, this person, this person, this person on your heart. I need you to pray for them. Not knowing what they need prayer for,
Yeah.
just
And
to
then in a
pray.
few days I reach out and you like, I knew something was going on.
Yeah. Yeah, always,
Yeah.
always be that person who knows how to fast and pray for your friends. Know
Yeah.
how
We
to
have to.
intercede for, and another thing too, forgive. This is
Hmm.
a big one. Forgive. No,
Yeah.
you're never going to forget. You're
Hmm.
not. That's humanly impossible to
Yeah.
forget what people have done to you.
Yeah.
But you can forgive them whether or not they give you the apology. Because
Yeah.
I realized there are apologies I'm never going to get. And you know
Never
what?
get them. You don't need
I'm
them.
okay with that
Yeah.
because Once I forgave them, that placed it between them and God. So when God says pray for that person, you pray
Pray
for
for them.
that person because you don't want to block whatever God is going to do
Mm-mm.
for you
That's
for
right.
being obedient when it comes to that person. That does not
That,
mean you have to let them back in your life.
yeah. Yeah.
Because as Black people, we're taught that, oh, when you forgive somebody, you're supposed to. No, forgiveness does not mean relationship.
No. No, it doesn't.
That does not mean rebuilding. That means let it go. Because that's what you're doing when you forgive. You let it go. You let them go. Don't allow them to keep coming back in knowing that all they're going to do is cause you more hurt,
Yeah.
more pain,
More
more trauma.
trouble.
You
Yeah.
don't deserve that.
Yeah. That's right. Well, listen, if you, all of you that are watching, if you have any questions to ask Miss Candy, now is the time for you to chime in, ask your questions. We have been talking about how important mental health is. We have been talking about the bond between a mother and her child. We have talked about faith and family and fighting and surviving. We have talked about women and military and suicide and just the journeys that require and push us to places we didn't not only know we were going to go, but didn't know if we would survive. If you have any thing that you would like to say, please chime in as we get ready to come to a close so that we can get your questions answered. Candy, tell us where we can find the book and tell us how to get in contact with you.
The book is on Amazon. It's on Barnes and Nobles. If you type in Pretty Wings by Candi Usher, it will give you everything. And if you're going to read Pretty Wings, also read I'm Still Standing Here, Delusional When I Lost My Mind in Love, and definitely My Forever Angel, because that goes much, much deeper into
Yeah,
everything that happened with losing my son. Um, my website is www.misscandygirl.com.
yeah.
Um, so it's on there. I'm on Pinterest. I'm some of, if you just type my name in, I am everywhere, literally everywhere. The book is in different languages on top of that. So there's
Wow.
that. And I am working on right now opening my business for therapy. So it will be called Power of a Sound Mind,
How of a
mental health
sound.
counseling. And that's
Wow.
based
Okay.
on First Timothy 1 and 3. For God
That's
has
what
not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound
sound.
mind.
Yeah,
So
I like
that's
that.
big for me is really helping women, and especially Black women, have a
Yeah,
sound mind. There's so much thrown at us in this world.
yeah,
We the moment we're born, there's responsibility as a woman. And there are
yeah,
certain things that we take responsibility for that's not even ours to be responsible for. And
yeah,
I pray that God gives each woman who is watching, who is listening, the support systems that she needs. I know a
yeah.
lot of us have been burnt by other women. We've
Mm,
been hurt by other women. And a lot of us, it starts with our moms. It
yeah,
starts with the women that we're related to by water, amniotic fluid. Your mother, your grandmother, your aunts, your cousins. That's where a lot of the first hurt for a lot of women starts. And that's the basis for how we relate to other
mhm,
women.
yeah,
And at some point, we have to get to where I can't hold these women responsible for what my mom did.
mhm,
I can't hold them responsible for what my grandma did. I can't hold them responsible for what my aunt did. I can't.
mhm,
I can't
mhm,
hold them responsible for that. And I
yeah,
had to do a lot of forgiveness on that end too,
mm, yeah,
because that was a problem with family,
yeah,
dealing with mental illness and dealing with the rejection and the non-help.
yeah,
I had to forgive them because that was generational, starting with
mhm,
grandma, aunts,
yeah,
and my mom. But I said
Yeah.
it was gonna stop with me.
Yeah, we have to make those declarations, and then we have to pray and be guided by the Holy Spirit to stop those things, because we have the power through Jesus Christ,
Yes.
to overcome these things. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on tonight,
Thank
for
you.
sharing your book, sharing your life with us, your story. Pretty Wings. It is a must read.
Yes.
Order Pretty Wings.
Yes.
Amazon.com. Candi Usher. Pretty Wings. She also named her other books. Look her up on Facebook. She is a phenomenal woman of God, and then on top of it, a mother, a author, spokesperson all around. And so, please check out my friend, my sister, her
Yes.
book, Pretty Wings by Candi Usher. Hang tight, Miss Candi. Thank you guys so
Yes.
much for tuning in tonight. It has been another amazing episode. If you are in the Dallas, the Fort Worth, or any of the areas in Dallas, I will be in Dallas this coming Sunday. I will be hosting a show at the Bookshop called Sister Sunday. There is a organization called Soul Sisters, Soul Sisterhood, that sponsors an event every month, targeting for young girls up until adulthood. And I have graciously been asked to come in and host this Sunday. I am so looking forward to it. I will be talking from my new book, Hearts Restored: Finding True Fulfillment in Christ. And I am excited, Miss Candy, to be able to minister to
I
these young
see you,
women.
you see me. Look at what God is doing for both. Look
Look at God. Look at
at
God.
God.
So if you are in the Dallas area, we will be at the Doc Bookshop from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock on Sunday evening. Again, you are welcomed, welcome, welcome to come out and take part. And there will be different vendors, breakout sessions, refreshments. It's going to be an amazing event. I have attended.
And we are working on one day, y'all, doing something live
Yes,
together. Not this
together.
way,
Yeah.
together live.
Well, you know what? We're going to be doing something together live coming up here soon. Behind the scenes, there is a big event that is taking place. And for all of you that know about that big event, it's a girls' getaway. And it is an exclusive girls' getaway that we're going to be doing for all of the ladies that took part in the anthology that we are working on, called The Crazy Girl in My Head Has to Go. And Candy and I will be doing some co teaching
Yeah.
at that event, as well as we have extended an invitation to other women as well. So there's only 20 spots, ladies. If you go to the event page, I have put a link out if you want to take care of your full exclusive copay, or if you want to pay your deposit. I will be making the deposit on the luxury cabin on August the 1st. And so, if you are watching and you are intending to go on that getaway, August the 1st is the deadline for that. And so, between that and Sister Sunday, and
Yeah.
then August the 3rd, I will be back in Dallas again for the book launch of the book project that I just did completed July 1st. It was released with Rodriguez, Mr. U. Underwood, and we have the book Innocence Taken. We will be having a big event. We have been this event is so big at this point. We have built it up, and there's going to be some amazing things going on at that event. And that is going to be Saturday, August the 3rd from 6 o'clock to 9 p.m. And you are welcome, welcome, welcome. We will have books on hand, be doing autograph, open discussion. We have a speaker that happens to be a former child abuse investigator, as
Wow.
well as she worked for CASA, Advocates for Children. So,
Oh wow.
um, yeah, so it
That's
is going to be very exciting event. So you do not want to miss that. Okay. All
oh,
right.
5.5 weeks left in
Yes, five
school.
and a half weeks until graduation.
And I'll be
And
there.
my friend, Yes, and my friend will be done with her bachelor's, and so
Yeah.
I'm so happy about that. Hold on just a minute, Miss Candy, okay?
Okay.
Thank you to all of the viewers, and we will catch you again on next week.
The Woman at the Well, authored by Stephanie M. Seaton, is a story of grace and redemption. The woman at the well mattered. I am, is always near. Jesus' blood paid our ransom while we were yet sinners. The book can be found on Amazon.com.